Hey, how's it going, guys? Like Butter here. Welcome back to another Destiny 2 video. And in this video, I want to go over the tactics and kind of strategies that we did going through the new Nightfall and the first Nightfall of Destiny 2. If you're a little bit new to Destiny and you're a little bit confused at what the Nightfall is, basically the Nightfall is a weekly mission of a upgraded and harder version of one of the strikes that are in the game. The first strike is the arms dealer. The modifiers, which they usually throw modifiers on these missions to either make it a little bit harder or to make you play a little bit differently. There are two modifiers on the normal version. We have not attempted, I think we attempted once the harder version of it where it's basically like 300 light is recommended. That one is way too hard, at least for us at our current light. But in this video, I'm going to go through step by step and kind of talk to you guys about what we did. So the two modifiers, one is that you have to actually beat it in a certain amount of time. You start with 11 minutes, and getting kills on red enemies is going to give you plus 2 seconds. Getting kills on the elites or the yellow bar enemies is going to add 7 seconds to your timer. Now, if you actually can beat this with more than 5 minutes left, you're going to get a special weapon called the Rat King. We haven't actually done that yet, but that's something that we could definitely push for very soon, seeing that our light is getting up towards the 275 range. Now, the other modifier is the most important in this mission, and it's that the elemental damage, which if you don't know what that is, like I said, there's a lot of new people to Destiny. Each weapon could have elemental damage on it or kinetic damage. Kinetic damage is the white. You can look at your weapon and see if it has any type of elemental damage. This game also has modifications where you can actually change some of your weapons between the different elements. So that might be something you want to look into before doing the strike. But essentially, you have different damage types that are going to cycle, and you can see this in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen. So it'll go through solar, it'll go through arc energy, and it will go through void. Now, I highly suggest having a primary kinetic weapon because obviously you're not going to be doing less damage like you are with an element. So if you have an arc element weapon and it's solar damage active during that time frame, you're going to do less damage with an arc weapon, but with a kinetic weapon, you're going to do the same amount of damage that you would do throughout the entire, strike. So I think that it's better to have one kinetic weapon and then two of another element. Now, this is where you want to coordinate with your team and make sure that each person has a different element. Now, I suggest each player having a different element for their power weapon. So you want one arc, one void, and one solar. And I also highly suggest sniper rifles. Now, I'm using a shotgun, which actually helps a lot when you're up close. I wouldn't suggest it for a hunter though, because most hunters aren't, super tanky like something like a Titan. So it's not really that smart to be up in the fight, but I was confident enough with my vanish and smoke and also my dash that I could get close enough with the void shotgun and basically one-shot things, but also, get out alive and not die too much. I think I only died like twice this entire mission. I also highly suggest elemental weapons that have multiple explosions or something like that. Like, for example, I'm using the Sunshot as my secondary, which is a solar pistol, which is it's an exotic, and it also has solar damage on hit. So you're basically doing double that solar damage, but sniper rifles are super strong. If you have like two people that have like, say one has an arc sniper and the other one has a void sniper, you're going to be able to pretty much like 3 or 4 shot the tanks, which is going to help you get through this mission a lot quicker, because don't forget, you want to get through as fast as possible because that time is always ticking. There's also a part during the middle of the Nightfall where we actually choose to just completely skip it. Now, I'm not sure if that's faster than, going through and killing all the enemies, but it seems to work out for us, and I will let you know at what part of the video that is. It's also really important to have communication, because sometimes the elemental change in the bottom left-hand corner can be a bit hard to see, especially if you're focusing on, shooting enemies and whatnot, and if there's like crazy explosions going on. Sometimes it's really hard to notice, like, okay, it's solar energy or it's arc damage. Like, this is good communication between your team, because at least one of the 3 of you guys are going to see it in the corner, and you guys can basically just go through and tell each other which elemental damage it is. It goes from arc to solar to void, arc, solar, void. So if you can kind of get that pattern in your head, it'll also make it a lot easier when you're going through and you know, say you're going through, you're doing solar damage, and then you're doing a ton of damage, and all of a sudden you see your damage drop off. Even if you don't see it say void energy, then you know to switch next to your void weapon. So like I said, 3 different classes would also be preferred, and Night Stalker is super helpful because now in the new version of Night Stalker you can shoot up to, like, I think 5 or 6 shots, and you're going to be able to do extra damage with your bow when something's tethered. So what I do, and you'll see me do it throughout this mission, is I'll end up shooting like an enemy, and then I can shoot another enemy that's also tethered, and it will do a ton of damage. You can use this on bosses and help your team do a huge amount of damage, and it would be like the most beneficial, I think, if you had one of your teammates running like a void sniper or something, because that way when you're hitting them with those tethers, they can also be sniping them. You're going to be slowing the boss and also allowing your team to do more damage. On top of the extra void damage from the modifier, you're going to be able to put down bosses extremely quick, especially the tanks that you can see us shooting in this part. Now, I wouldn't recommend trying the Nightfall until you're around like 250 light. You can even do it a little bit higher if you want it to just, you know, be a little bit easier on you. So that will make it so that you're doing a little bit more damage. But once you learn kind of the mechanics and get into a routine of calling out to your team, you know, which element you should be using, it's actually not that hard. And it was actually quite fun, and I can't wait to go through and try to beat it with at least 5 minutes left, which I think is going to be extremely challenging, but I think it's going to be worth it to go for that exotic sidearm. Anyways, guys, I'm going to let the rest of this video kind of play out. Hopefully this gave you some decent tips on how to beat the Nightfall. Good luck out there. Let me know in the comment section below how you did. If you have any questions, also leave that in the comments and I'll be happy to answer them. Hopefully you guys have a fantastic day, and hopefully you guys are really enjoying Destiny 2. Take care, everybody.
Well, there are many levels to be.
One less tank to worry about, but we need to get up that elevator. Hawthorne, you're not going to believe this.
Wait. Let me guess. Giant flamethrower.
No, but thanks for that image. Zahn is here.
And the flame turret. Is he using the flame turret?
Yes. Almost back to the surface.
Watch for air support. This guy's too smart to not have a backup plan.
Yeah, backup plans are overrated.
Here we go.
Excellent work, fire team.
Thanks, boss. It's by the book. Oh, wait.
Does this say flame turret?
Don't forget about the signal flares.